But remember the Lord God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms his covenant which He swore to your forefathers as it is today. This is a verse from the Bible, Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18, a powerful reminder that God is the ultimate source of our ability to generate wealth. This passage reinforces the idea that accumulating wealth and resources is a gift from God. But the question remains, do we all have this ability or this gift to generate and accumulate wealth? We can find this answer in the story of creation. The early chapters of Genesis explains the original intent of God for His creation. He tells us our purpose and calling as human beings. I'll focus on Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 28. Verse 26 of chapter 1 of Genesis says, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, that they may rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and over the livestock and all wild animals, and over all creatures that move along the ground." Then verse 28 says, "God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground." Note the keywords: be fruitful, increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, then rule over. So these two verses tells us that we all have this inborn ability to generate, to produce, and accumulate wealth, because we've all been created in the image of God, who had this ability. These two verses emphasizes the concept of abundance as the central purpose of human existence, rooted in the divine instruction to be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue, and rule. It suggests that God's plan involves not only personal growth and fruitfulness, but also structure, organization, and the management of the resources, rather than dominion over people. This passage highlights the need for resource acquisition as a prerequisite for responsible stewardship. That you must first acquire, multiply, for you to rule. It suggests that in order for a person to govern and manage resources effectively, whether those resources are material, environmental, economic, one must first work to make, accumulate, and acquire them. This perspective frames resource management as a proactive and purposeful endeavor aligned with the divine intent, where humans are encouraged to build and expand their capacity to steward the earth and its offering. This is therefore a call for responsible growth and development. The good book is urging us to be active in the creation and organization of resources, which leads to fuller and more abundant life. Are you living an abundant life? Are you accumulating wealth? Are you active in creation and organization of resources? How are you responding to this divine call or divine instruction of being fruitful, multiplying, subduing, and ruling over? Are you living to your potential? Are you living to as the image that you were created to be? That's for you to answer. The Bible in Proverbs chapter 13 verse 22 defines a good man. And it says that a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. And then in Proverbs chapter 19 verse 14, the good book says that houses and wealth are inherited from parents. The Bible is telling us that if we live as God intended us to live, we should leave inheritance for our generation. We should bequeath houses and wealth to our children. So these two verses aligns with the idea that God created us with the intention to live abundantly, accumulating resources and wealth that serve us during our lives. This wealth allow us to live in dignity and fulfillment, reflecting the loyal status bestowed upon us by God. You see, God intended for us to be rulers, and royalties rule. So this wealth is supposed to allow us to live as lawyers. More than just for personal gain, this wealth is meant to be passed down, as seen in the two verses from Proverbs. That this wealth should secure the well-being of our future generation, showing that we lived responsibly, we had foresight, and we were good stewards of the resources that were under our care. So in this view, working hard, being productive, and multiplying wealth is not just a material pursuit, but a fulfillment of divine purpose. And this divine purpose we've seen in the story of creation. That is Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 28. That when time comes for us to leave this world, a person leaves behind not just wealth, but a lasting legacy of wisdom and provision for their descendant, joining the ranks of good men who have secured prosperity for their children's children. So the big question is, will you join the rank of good men? Will you die a good man? Will you leave a legacy? Will you secure the future of your generation? Join me in this channel as we find out how we can die as good men.